Everybody, it's Davron Karimov. We're here with the Big Boss Show, a show where we talk to somebody that may have not always been a big boss, but shares his or her perspective that we can learn from. Today, I'm joined by John. How do you say it? Sama Labs? Is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, full scale marketing agency here, local in South Florida. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
All right, sweet. So, what? Let me ask you. What do you guys do? How did you get into marketing?
Yeah, good question. So we're about a 35-person team. We are obviously, like most agencies today, fully remote. We are about 3.5 years old. How we got our start is really what our value it is when we talk to brands, right? And part of that story is what we've done for ourselves over the last 7 years, and then how that relates to how we help brands today. About 7 years ago, my co-founder and business partner launched his own lifestyle apparel brand out of his bedroom and grew it to being a disruptor brand as far as Facebook's concerned, spending some pretty big budgets, shipping thousands of orders every single day. And as the brand grew, people became aware of our success and how we were able to manage that success through digital marketing. The brand is called SA Company. SAfishing.com is the website. You can check it out. That brand was built when Instagram was still a infancy platform, right? So the algorithm was still chronological based. The whole pay to play strategy was really not in effect yet, and that which obviously came as Facebook acquired it. So this was well before that. And so we've gone through different inflection points as a brand on how to use digital marketing to grow and scale. And once we got to a certain point, people started to approach us and ask us for help with marketing. And because they were privy and exposed to how well we were growing, how fast we were growing, they started asking us for help. And we didn't at the time have anybody that we would be comfortable sending our friends and family members to. Let's say family member or friend XYZ had a coffee brand, for example, and they wanted help with their Facebook advertising and their creative. We didn't have anybody that we could confidently send that person to. So we said, look, let's just do it ourselves, because we've gone through that experience as a brand. We've worked with agencies. We've been through those types of experiences where we hire people to help us with the things that we didn't know. So not only do we have the side of the table that was operator based and running the business, but we also had the side of the table now that was agency based or from the client experience. So 3 years ago, we just decided to launch the agency and have grown it to about 35 people since. And we primarily work with small to medium sized e-commerce businesses, direct to consumer, from creative. I like to say that we're full funnel. So we help with the creative aspect of things. We help with the paid media aspect of things, and also loyalty and retention is a big part of what's going on today too.
That's awesome. That's awesome because that you're practicing. Because like a lot of times, people could start up a agency and they could just be that's just their own business and they've never done anything before that.
That's. I mean, that is one of our value adds. Is we're empathetic to running a business and not just looking at, hey, what's Facebook performing as today. We get pretty intimate with the clients we work with because, like I said, we empathize with what they're going through, not just from a marketing perspective, but cash flow, inventory, legal issues, finance, supply chain. Like these are all things that every brand, if you're a direct-to-consumer brand and you're selling online, you're going to have those challenges one way or another.
Okay. So is it small businesses? Is it medium businesses?
Yeah, I mean, typically the brands we work with, I consider them small to medium sized. Most of them are doing about at least $1 million a year in top line revenue and up from there. We have brands that are well beyond that, into the 40 plus, 50 plus range, and everything in between. Brands we work with, they're at that next pivotal moment for them to decide what kind of brand they want to be and how big they want to get as a business. Going from or making your first $1 million is a different experience than going from 1 to 5 and 5 to 20. And then obviously beyond that, you're going through different challenges. So because we've gone through those challenges, we're bringing different perspective on how to navigate those seas, which can be pretty rocky at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so is there like a reason why you have that number, or
which number?
It's a million and up. Is that has it always been like that?
Well, we work with some startups, but the only challenge with startups with the type of agency we are from the paid media perspective is consistency and funding.
Right.
Being a bootstrap brand is definitely an exciting thing to experience for anybody, but the type of marketing we do is influenced by consistency and sometimes kind
Right.
of pushing the envelope a little bit. So um, unless they are funded and have some investment backing and they're ready to kind of go down that path of consistent marketing for the next, call it 6 to 9 months, building a
Yeah.
brand, getting that awareness out there, as opposed to saying, "Hey, I'm going to launch this watch brand, and then I'm going to run Facebook ads next week, and then in a month from now, I'm going to make $1 million." As crazy as it sounds, that is some expectations that we do oftentimes have from prospects, but that's not the game we play because we're much more realistic in terms of what it takes in today's world, which is a lot different than 4 or 5 years ago to build a brand.
And so, what are you doing? Is it mostly on the paid side that you're doing, or how are you building brands?
Yeah, I mean, I like to consider it as kind of the four-legged stool. So you have your paid search, your paid social, your marketplaces, your Amazon, your Walmart, and then your creative piece, right? And the creative piece is probably the most important in today's world because we're post iOS 14 and now 15 as far as privacy regulations that are taking place through Apple, which has made it more difficult or has forced us to think a little bit differently than we did this time last year
Yeah.
during the pandemic, right? Or even before the pandemic. So the creative piece is big for that. And if I had to add a fifth stool, which is probably equally as important, is going to be your loyalty and retention. That's also what's called your own media, and that's also a really important piece that I think brands are starting to really double down on because how you target and how you reach people on Facebook is a different game today.
That's
But
awesome.
those are the main points that we focus on as far as what our core strengths are. We have a production studio down here in Boca Raton, so we shoot content, video, photography, UGC content for brands. Everything that you need to be successful, we're facilitating on a daily basis.
That's cool. Is there like any case study? Like you don't have to mention the client's name, but is there anything that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of what we do is influenced by the partners that we have. Like Klaviyo, for example, is an email marketing platform. We're a platinum partner with Klaviyo. From time to time, they'll feature us in a case study based on the email performance that we have with brands. We were featured in one. Was it earlier this year? I believe it was earlier this year with a company called Bones Coffee, and it was based on just navigating retention and email performance in a post-pandemic world. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was our open rates, our click-through, our revenue lift was all in the double and triple digits in some instances, which is incredible for email. But yeah, I mean, we have plenty of case studies. If anyone is interested in checking some of these case studies out, they can visit our website. There's a little tab to contact us. And if you ever want to check, we have a bunch of them that we can send out in a variety of different categories. That's one big thing for us is that we're not like a brand that only works with apparel companies or with supplement brands. We're pretty agnostic across different categories. The way that we look at success as it relates to the client experience is based on other different signals, which is top line revenue, previous performance, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Gross profit margin is a big thing we look at. Average order value is a big thing we look at. Retention rate, conversion rate as it relates to their website, what platform they're on. So we look at a lot of different things as we're pre-qualifying different businesses that would be a good fit for us, the same way that they look at us as being a good fit for them.
I got you. Yeah, where do you get your inspiration from?
Inspiration. Wow, I guess it depends on where I'm trying to. What's the source of the inspiration I'm trying to get from, whether it's personal or professionally, right? So there's different layers to it. For me, it's my business partner. I get a lot of inspo from him just because he's gone through the last 7 years of building a brand out of his bedroom and relentlessly growing it. So that perspective is good because I had never been on that side of the ball myself. So when we get challenges from the brand or the client side, that's inspiration to help come up with creative solutions that I probably wouldn't have thought of myself. Family is a big thing for me. I don't really look at a lot of these influencers that are out there. I mean, I'll listen to them, but I wouldn't say I get inspiration from them because a lot of it seems very gimmicky these days and repetitive. But don't get me wrong, a lot of them are obviously super successful and have a really, really great message. But I think it's, for me at least, it's better to take it in bite sizes and then really come up with my own creative solutions from that little snippet instead of listening to an hour-long TED talk, right? That's just my personal preference. And I like to self-critically think and how to navigate things that I'm going through. But yeah, I mean, that's, family, I think for me is first, because I have a lot of people in my family that have owned and operated businesses and have gone through a lot of things that I think is super helpful for me to navigate certain things. And then, having a really good base of people around me that, the old saying is don't be the smartest person in the room. Right. So that's something that, I try to navigate through. And I know my leadership team has different qualities that I can, pull inspiration from as far as, coming up with ideas to solutions.
Yeah, and this is gonna be like a kind of a selfish question, but you think it's worth hiring an agency rather than doing it in house, building it your own in house?
So there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's a question we get asked often. I do think it's important to have people in your business that you can delegate to, right? So as far as for example, Amazon. Amazon's a pretty complex platform. It is, but it isn't at the same time. It's important to have somebody that you have continuity internally for that. However, working with an agency that's really good at buying media can help that person focus on other aspects of that portion of your business, like inventory, supply chain, customer service. That's not typically something an agency does. So the mistake brands make oftentimes is that they try to get one person to do too many things, and that leaves you with a jack of all trades, a master of none, and you're not focusing on things that are going to really, really help you grow. So I think that it's totally okay to offload portions of your marketing to agencies that really, really know what they're doing. One thing I don't try to advocate for, one thing I say we don't do particularly well, or really don't do at all, I don't sell a service, is SEO. SEO is one thing that we don't focus on, which is organic, right? So it's not based on paid media. There are some overlapping things there, but people ask me, do you do SEO? I just flat out say no. It's just not something that we handle. So where they can obviously hire an agency or hire somebody in-house to do that. Of course, it also ultimately runs down the budget. One last point that I'll make is to do paid media successfully, especially on social, you need good creative, you need good copy, you need good strategy, right? And technically those are three different skills, which usually would incline somebody to hire three different people, right? A media buyer might be able to write some decent creative, but they might not be a good creative, right? And good copy, but not write good creative. And it typically is more cost effective to consolidate those three salaries into one typical retainer that might be a fraction of what the cost could be. So that's kind of where you have to make a decision on how you want to run the business, but it's usually predicated on that.
Makes sense. So what do you think that e-commerce brands should be doing right now? There's a specific platform or
platform? No. So TikTok is obviously really big on discoverability right now. Everyone's talking about it. There is no, I would say that's totally accurate. TikTok is basically where Instagram was 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago. And it's going to change. Obviously, they need to make the money, and how they're going to make the money is through advertising. And the algorithm is going to change drastically. It already kind of is slowly, but I think that it's definitely something that, depending on what kind of brand you are, obviously, what products you're selling, that's a platform you should look at. But I'm a strong believer in the conversation piece, building an actual brand, doing it what I consider the right way, which is not saying, here's my product, here's 10% off and go buy it. unless you're a super impulsive type of product, it's never going to work. So you really need to look at how the funnel is constructed and really widening the top of that funnel to build what we call the moat strategy, right? So you have your castle and the moat around the castle. It's protecting the castle. The moat is really your branding, right? So when you have good branding, there's no reason for anyone to ever leave. Also protects the brand from kind of outside invaders, other brands that would penetrate your castle and take your customers from you. So if you have a good conversation, if you have a good experience, that will set a good base for everything else to kind of layer on top of that over time, especially if you have a product that can be repurchased, like coffee or supplements. You'll see out there there's a lot of supplement brands, vitamin brands that do it very, very well, which is all predicated on their branding and their conversations that they have with customers and all the validity they have across social media with people advocating for the brand, right? So once you're like loyal to the brand, you're going to purchase over and over and over again. And when they have a new product release or a new flavor, the affinity is so high that that's really going to be the bedrock of success. So I think that's where, and in a post iOS world this year, that's been more important now than ever.
Okay. And what if I have like a brick and mortar store? Like, what if I'm a small, auto repair center out in Ozark or whatever, and I'm making like 10, 20 grand a month? How can I promote that? How can I scale that?
I think that's kind of goes along the same vein. It's just kind of a different, just a little bit of a different path where the community is most important, right? And there's no better type of referral than word of mouth. So as long as you're giving your community a good experience, the more likely they are to say, hey, use John's auto body shop because he fixed my car. He was affordable. He was honest. I never felt like I was being taken for granted or taken for a ride. And that's ultimately going to lead to long-term success and stability with your ability to grow. And so I think you just got to take the same mentality that e-commerce brands have to take and shrink it down to a very local, bite-sized view of that, which is all going to be stimulated by local community networking, putting yourself out there, and then using some social channels. I don't think there's anything wrong with using Facebook or Instagram on a local base, just to get out there. And there's been plenty of case studies with even TikTok, going back to that, with people going viral and people are like, who is this guy? And I just want him to service my car because he's so awesome. You know what I mean? That's more of a stretch, but it's been done before for sure. But yeah, it's the same thought process. You just got to shrink it down a little bit.
Got you. And so, do you work with B2B or?
No, we're B2C. We're fully direct to consumer brands. We work with some pretty big brands: Devotion Nutrition, Bones Coffee, Divers Direct, which is a South Florida-based dive equipment shop. They have a bunch of locations, brick and mortar, but we only handle their online. And Zimba is one of our brands, teeth whitening brand. It's called shopzimba.com. That's a brand we launched about the same time we launched the agency. But yeah, our website has a bunch of the brands we feature on there too.
Do you think you'd ever work with one of those small guys, the ones that we mentioned before, like the auto repair guy?
Probably not. It's not the agency we are, right? Look, I'm always willing to have a conversation with people and help and bring any sort of value that I can. Even if a 30-minute conversation brings 100% of value, then I'm more than happy with that. We also have a great program. Facebook actually contracted us to work with some of their small minority-owned businesses. So they have a program called Elevate. And Elevate is basically Facebook's way of educating and giving back to minority-owned businesses that want to learn how to use Facebook as a tool to grow their business. So we put them through a 6-week boot camp that's sponsored by Facebook. We teach them basically how to build a marketing ecosystem within Facebook to promote their business, whether they're a bakery or a small business like the auto body, like you're saying. That's how we're working with those businesses through this program with Facebook. But otherwise, conventionally, no, it's just never been the agency that we are. We started as a direct-to-consumer business, and that's how we're helping people through the agency too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in a couple of years? Like, do you have goals? Like, what are your goals taking this?
Just keep growing it. We have a lot of cool things. We just launched our affiliate marketing network through the agency, which is kind of just a way to get outside the box of like Facebook and Instagram ads. And while affiliate marketing is not new by any means and certainly not going anywhere, it's just a new layer of our ability to service companies so they can take a different approach to their marketing that protects it from putting all your eggs in the Facebook basket. And so that's just been released this month. Next month, we're launching an educational platform called Sama University, which is going to be a blog style ecosystem on its own that teaches people how to do what we do on a daily basis. Intention is not to sell anything. The intention is to educate and give back and hopefully be a resource for people, whether it's someone like you or the auto body mom and pop shop that's like, hey, I want to learn how to launch a Facebook ad. Facebook, of course, has its own resources, but this is a little bit more relatable because we're kind of showing them in real time how to do it. So that's a platform we're launching next month. I'm really excited about that. That's something we've been working on all year long. And a couple other things planned in the next couple months. So we just keep growing, keep doing what we're doing and doing it well.
How important do you think it is like to have different products and different for a brand?
I think it's important to always be doing product development and R&D. Products can get stale over time, and especially if products need new flavors. A lot of the brands that we work with that have a variety of flavors typically do really well when they launch a new flavor, which is based on their branding and loyalty. So if they have 5 flavors, they come out with a 6th flavor, whether it's a limited edition or not, it's going to be something that's going to help spike sales, right? And get people talking about the brand again, get the algorithms to kick on. There's a lot of benefit there, right? The other part is, you always want to be innovating, right? Every major corporation is doing it. iPhones just did it. Their 13 comes out in 2 days, right? So that's something you always want to be thinking about doing, no matter what.
All right, awesome. Do you have anything you want to mention or add?
Not really. I mean, I think we covered a lot today, right? There's so much to talk about when it comes to marketing and different aspects of it in business and how to think about success and, what's the best product fit. I get asked pretty much on a regular daily basis, what kind of product should I launch with, right? And there's never really a right or wrong answer. You just want to make sure that you have a product that's affordable, that has a market fit, that you kind of like pro and con why people would buy it, why they wouldn't buy it. You eliminate more of the cons than you do the pros, and making sure the margin's good. The cost of advertising is slowly increasing year over year, so you want to make sure you have enough margin in there to be able to support not just keeping your advertising costs stable, but being able to kind of over time, raise the bar on your advertising costs to drive more top line revenue. So yeah, just be vigilant in the way that you approach things. I think that's one of the most important parts of doing it. But I hope that a lot of what we talked about today was valuable and insightful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely got value out of this. I mean, I know you're in Boca. I don't go there that often, but I want to check out that studio. That sounds awesome. Sounds like you got a cool operation over there.
Where are you?
Yeah, I'm a local business owner in Miami. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You're not too far then.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on up anytime, man. Just give me a shout, and we'll gladly give you a tour of the facilities.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming and sharing this knowledge, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.